All right, there we go. All right, now we're recording and we should be able to see the screen. There we go. All right, so again, good evening. Welcome. This is the class of 2026. Want to welcome parents and students if you're on with your parents as well. I know it's hard to believe as parents to begin thinking about your child walking across the stage and graduating from Strawbell High School. But yes, our current seventh grade class, they're the class of 2026. And so we're excited to have them rejoin us back at Armstrong Junior High next year. Before we get started, I want to thank Miss Kayla Howell. She's on the Zoom with us. She's our current ninth grade counselor. And we follow the same model that we have done previous years, is that our counselors and our assistant principals are also going to loop with their students. So Ms. Kayla Howell, she's on the Zoom. Want to thank her for being with us. And then also Mr. Keegan Love, he's our ninth grade assistant principal. He's also on the Zoom with us. And he and Mrs. Howell, they'll come down and they will be the eighth grade counselor and assistant principal for next year for the fall 2021-2022 school year. So I want to thank them for being with us on this evening. All right. So the path to excellence begins with igniting our students' passion, purpose, and potential. And so that's one of the things parents as well as students that we're committed to each and every day. As students are in the classroom, we're working to where we want to identify each student's passion, their purpose. Also, we want to be able to ultimately push them to where they can reach their full potential. And that's something that we do each and every day, making our classes relatable. There's a slide at the end of the presentation where we're going to talk about academic houses that are at Strawbell High School. And that's something that we begin having a conversation with our students about their eighth grade year. They go into more depth their ninth grade year because ultimately that's what it is. We want students to begin having those conversations and begin thinking, okay, what is it that I can see myself doing for the rest of my life and enjoy it? What career am I interested in? What careers connect to the skills and the talents that I have? So this is something that your students going to hear me mentioning to them all the time, is that, again, that we want to ignite their passion, their purpose, and their potential. So this next slide is the mission statement of the Strawbell School District, which just says that we want to achieve excellence by facilitating the discovery and development of each student's passion, their purpose, and their potential. So as eighth graders, you're on the path to your future. And so when we're talking about eighth graders being on the path to their future, how do we prepare them for their future? So the first is the Mississippi Diploma and Endorsement options. And there's a slide that is going to come up next, and I have a video that's going to break down the Mississippi Diploma and Endorsement options. And then also our ninth grade counselor, Ms. Howell, she's going to follow that video and just share the endorsement options and diploma options that are available as well. Then also we have what's called Individual Success Plan, ISP. One of the things that you will see on your child's course selection sheet at the bottom, that we have it written to where that course selection sheet is their Individual Success Plan, ISP. This is something that the Mississippi Department of Education implemented a few years ago. And what I like about it is that it allows us, as we're having conversation with students on an individual basis, especially as we move up from 8th to 9th grade, when the courses began to open up and there are more course offerings, we're able to have an individual discussion on each student and discuss which courses are best for that student, what route is best for that student. And so that course selection sheet that you're filling out, that you're going to complete and turn in, is your child's ISP, Individual Success Plan, and it'll follow them from their current 7th grade year to 8th grade, from 8th to 9th, all the way through their years at the high school until they graduate. And it's something that will be reviewed each year by the counselor so that we can ensure that the goals that students have, that the courses that they're taking, and that they're on track to meet those goals academically. And then also, we prepare them for their future through the 8th grade courses that they're going to take, as well as the academic houses of Starkville High School. And we're going to talk a little more about these different points later on in the presentation. So there's a video here that I want to play, and it's going to explain the Mississippi Diploma and endorsement options. And then from here, Ms. Howell, she'll join us and she's going to explain the next few slides. So I'm going to hit play, and if you all will give your attention and watch this video.
Mississippi students now have the opportunity to make their high school diploma more valuable. Incoming 9th graders get to choose whether to work towards a standard high school diploma or take additional courses to earn an academic or career and technical education endorsement. Each diploma option will prepare us to be successful after graduation, whether that be in college, the workforce, or a career and technical training program. The standard high school diploma requires us to earn 24 credits during our 4 years of high school. We must take classes in English, math, science, social studies, career and college readiness, computer or technology science, health, art, PE, and electives. These are the building blocks of our high school diploma. I'm excited that Mississippi high schools offer different options to make sure that all students graduate prepared for the future. To learn more about the standard high school diploma and opportunities to earn endorsements, talk to your school counselor or visit the Mississippi Department of Education at www.mdek12.org.
All right, so Ms. Howell is now, she's going to walk through and explain the different diploma options that students will be able to access.
Okay, so on this slide, parents, as you can see, it says the Mississippi Traditional Diploma and Endorsement Options. So for our traditional diploma options, your student will need 24 credits for that. So parents, as you see, you can go through this and it shows where they'll need English, where they'll have math, science, social studies, their PE, health, arts, college and career readiness, technology, and additional electives. So a lot of students, especially for my 9th graders this year, they thought, okay, well, I took PE in 8th grade, so that counts as my credit. It does not. But we want our students to start thinking about those courses in their 8th grade year that will count towards credit-bearing classes. So, and then you see over to the side where it says requirements. So for each diploma option, you'll see the different requirements that they have to have in order to meet that. Then you'll see the recommendations for early graduation and where it says a student should take a math or a math equivalent course their senior year. So parents, this right here gives you just their traditional diploma options where all they will need is 24 credits. Okay, so with our options, you also have different endorsements, parents. So with a traditional diploma, you could have career and technical education, which is our CTE endorsement. So parents, with that, your student will need to earn 26 credits and 4 credits from the same CTE program, achieve at least a 2.5 grade point GPA, score a silver level on the ACT work keys, and successfully complete a dual credit course, a work-based learning experience, or earn a national credential. Then parents, your student can also have the academic endorsement. This one also has to earn 26 credits, score at least a 17 on the ACT English section and a 19 on the math ACT section, achieve at least a 2.5 grade point average, successfully complete 1 advanced placement course and AP exam or 1 dual credit course, and earn at least a C in an advanced course. And then our last endorsement, parent, is the distinguished academic endorsement. Now with this one, your student would have to earn 28 credits, score at least an 18 on the ACT English section, at least a 22 on the math section, achieve at least a 3.0 grade point average, successfully complete 1 advanced placement course and an AP exam or dual credit course, and earn at least a B in an advanced course. Okay, so like Mr. Forbes touched on the ISP, this is a process, not just a document that they'll get just 1 year. This is a process that takes them through their 12th grade year. A 5-year course sequence plan to prepare students to be college and career ready. And it's for all of our students. And it's to be revisited and revised yearly by students, families, and counselors to align with the students' goals.
And one thing that I'm gonna just add right here, Ms. Howell. So parents, as your child is at the end of 8th grade, when we begin having pre-registration for their 9th grade year for their following year, that's when every year we'll revisit that ISP, and we'll also begin and continue discussing as it pertains to the diploma options and endorsements, because as your child moves through each year from 8th to 9th, then beginning 9th grade, more of those credits, all of those credits actually will count toward the graduation and toward them receiving that high school diploma. But we wanted to go ahead and share that information. But again, we'll continue having that conversation, because we want students to be aware that what they're doing right now as they prepare, the 7th grade year is preparing them for next year, 8th grade, and we want them to maximize those moments, and we want them to be informed of the very options, and we want you to be informed as well. So we will be revisiting the ISP, as well as revisiting the diploma options and the endorsement options. We'll be revisiting those yearly.
Okay, so on our next slide, you see the 8th grade course selection form. So parents, your students should be bringing this home today or either tomorrow. And you see where next year they have to have 4 required courses, parents. So we're having 8th grade English, 8th grade math, or the 8th grade compacted math with Algebra 1. Now, parents, that's the only class that the students have to meet a requirement in order to be placed there. And as it states, you guys can see where it says they have to have the pending 7th grade math MAP scale score, a proficiency on the district selected universal screener, and a final grade of at least an 85. With the rest of the required courses, parents, as long as they've taken 7th grade English, 7th grade science, and 7th grade history, they will take the equivalent of that class their 8th grade year. So you can see at the bottom where they have a physical activity. So parents, being that this year, our students, when they come back over to Armstrong, their history will not be every other day. It'll be every day. So they'll only get a chance to select 2 electives. So with one being their physical activity, which we have band, PE, or JCC. And then your student can choose another elective that we have over to the side, which we have music course, Spanish 1, which parents is credit bearing, which would be a really good thing for the 8th graders to go ahead and jump on getting that credit out the way, so that way freshman year, they don't have to worry about saying, oh man, I haven't taken a foreign language yet, because a lot of my current 9th graders, they kind of got caught up in that. So I would recommend for the 8th graders, if you can get your 8th grader to decide, hey, I want to do this, I will go ahead and jump on that Spanish 1. Then you have art, you have robotics, and you have theater. So parents, as you see, we are telling the kids to choose 1, 2, or 3. With their X and their 1 being, that's the 2 choices that they really want on their schedule for next year for an elective. With their 2 and 3 being their alternate choice. So if their first physical activity and their first choice with electives are just full for some reason, they can't get in them, then the 2 and 3 that your student has selected, then they're letting me know, okay, Ms. Howell, I'll be okay to be placed in 2 or 3 if I can't get my first 2 choices. So this is basically the course selection sheet. Is extremely simple, parents.
And one thing I want to add as well, one change that we are making this year, you'll see with English, we won't be offering accelerated English this year. And the reason being is that MDE doesn't offer support, and that accelerated English course is not in the course sequence. When you look at English, for example, for the math and the course sequence that MDE has, it has 8th grade math, and then it has a curriculum for the 8th grade compacted math with Algebra 1. However, for English, when you look at the course sequence that MDE has provided, there's no curriculum for accelerated English, and it is not in that course sequence. So we're making that change, and we will offer 8th grade English. And what our teachers will be doing, we'll be working with them to ensure that within their classroom that they are strong in being able to differentiate and ensure that all of our students are being challenged. But that is one difference from last year to this year. is we'll have 8th grade English. And then I do just want to reiterate as it pertains to 8th grade compacted math with Algebra 1, the criteria there that we'll follow, their MAP score, their performance on our already diagnostic, that's the universal screener that we utilize as well, that your child also took at the partnership school this year. And then that final grade of at least an 85 in math. And something else, parents, for you all to be aware of also. So 8th grade math, your child's 8th grade math, they will receive a credit for that course. So as an 8th grader, they take 8th grade math, that's 1 credit. And then let's say your child takes Spanish 1. Spanish 1 is also a credit that goes toward graduation. And then students, they do receive a credit for Cyber 2. So at the end of our students' 8th grade year, they will have either 2 or they can have 3 credits. And again, if they've taken the Cyber 2 this year, if they only take the 8th grade math next year, if they do not take Spanish 1, then they'll have 2 credits at the end of their 8th grade year. But if your child decides to take Spanish 1, then they'll have 3 credits that go toward graduation. And I wanted to share that information with you all as well. So this is our timeline that we have for our students. Today, students were shown a video in their Cyber 2 and history classes explaining the course selection form for their 8th grade year. Because if you look at the form, I'm gonna go back 1 slide. The only thing they're selecting is their physical activity, and then they're selecting their electives. Our counselors over the summer, when we receive our scores from Mississippi MAP, then our counselors, they will run a report, and based on the criteria for Algebra 1, they will determine students that have met the criteria, and then you'll receive an email indicating if your child met the criteria to be in Algebra 1. So our counselors will handle that over the summer. So the only thing they're selecting is their PE and then their electives. Very simple process. It gets, I'm not going to say more complicated, but more options become available and more course offerings as your child moves up. And so then we have for this week, we want our students to return their course selection sheets to their Cyber 2 teachers by this Wednesday, which is December the 16th. And so the next part that we have this year, something new that we've done. In years prior, our counselors, they went in and they entered the course selections for every student themselves. But this year, we are going to utilize PowerSchool, and our counselors have set it up to where students will be able to go in and go online and select their elective classes. And so students are going to be doing that in their Cyber 2 classes this Wednesday and Thursday. However, one of the things that I do want to share, parents, is that in order for this step to be completed, your child will need to return their course selection sheet, and it will have to have your signature. So if it does not have your signature, then we're not going to allow them to select courses, because without your signature, we don't have permission for them to complete the online portion. That's one of the ways that we know that you've reviewed it and you're in agreement with what they've selected. So please be sure when your child returns it that it has your signature, because that's the only way we'll be able to complete this online portion. And then next, our counselors, they're going to schedule Zoom appointments for parents to review course selections and ISP after Christmas break. And what we have in here, that we can't schedule a Zoom with the counselor until your student has returned the signed form. And so us receiving your course selection sheet is going to be able to allow that opportunity to set up the Zoom. And that way, if you have any questions with the counselors, you can be able to cover those questions in that one-on-one session. And the next slide I have is some instructions for our virtual students, because I know that some of our students are virtual. And so what we want our virtual students to do, I'm going to email a copy of our course selection sheet out. I'm going to have Ms. Nicole Thomas to send that out. Also, parents of virtual students, if you want to drop by the school, we left copies there as well at the partnership school, but I will be emailing an electronic copy of it out. We want our virtual students to also complete their online registration Wednesday and Thursday, but we're going to allow virtual students, we'll give you the option to be able to do that at home, since it's a simple process. However, this next bullet, we are going to provide a Zoom session for virtual students who may need assistance with the online registration. And that's going to be on this Wednesday, December the 16th from 3:30 to 4:30. And we're going to email that Zoom link. Ms. Howell, she's going to open up the Zoom and she'll be on the Zoom during that hour. And that way, if any of our virtual students, if they do need assistance in going into Power School and selecting their electives, she will be available to answer those questions. And then also, we're going to send an instructional video out. So parents, you'll be getting some emails from us tomorrow. It's going to have a short instructional video walking the students through how they will access the online registration and to be able to complete that. So that's our outline for our virtual students, because we want to be sure that both our traditional and our virtual students are able to get everything completed. And next, there is a video that we have about the academic houses of Starkville High School. And then after that, if there are questions, we'll be able to answer questions that parents may have. So if you will give your attention to this video, it's going to give you an explanation of our academic houses that we're excited to have at Starkville High.
As students, we want real-world, authentic experiences that will help us be better prepared for what comes after high school.
In Starkville, our schools have partnered with educators, employers, and community leaders to implement a new approach to high school education.
Together, we are transforming our high school, strengthening the connection between what we learn in the classroom with what we may do after graduation, making learning more meaningful and giving us the skills we need to be college and career ready. We call this transformation the academic houses at Starkville High School.
The academic houses allow us to choose a thematic course of study, such as engineering, health science, arts, and more.
We will take general education courses such as math, English, science, and social studies, but they will be taught through the theme of our academic house. Incoming ninth graders will enroll in Freshman Focus, where they will learn the skills necessary to be successful in high school. Then they will choose an academic house and pathway for their 10th, 11th, and 12th grade years. Choosing a pathway, such as the sports medicine pathway, within the academic house of health and human science is like choosing a college major. These pathways are smaller learning communities that provide all students with a sense of belonging and help us develop strong student-teacher relationships.
No matter what academic house or pathway we choose, our courses will relate to real problems being faced by real companies.
Opportunities like job shadowing and internships will provide hands-on experiences that will help us understand career options and provide increased technical and soft skills.
We use research on high demand, high wage, real job opportunities in our region, and student, teacher, and community input to determine the academic houses offered.
By leveraging our personal interests, school becomes more relevant and will increase our academic achievement, attendance, and graduation rate.
Our goal? Ensure all graduates have the opportunity to enroll in a college or other post-secondary option, enlist in military service, or become employed in a sustainable career with opportunities for growth.
Most importantly, it will prepare us for excellence in an ever-changing world.
For more information, visit www.starkvillesd.com/academic-houses.
All right, so here is a slide, and again, you'll hear your child as well will hear more about our academic houses next year. So we have the Tech House, Technology, Engineering, and Construction, also our CAB House, Communication, Arts, and Business, and then H2S, which is Health and Human Service. And also, if you go to the Starkville School District website and you type in academic houses, there's a link that has this information as well. And that way, if you just want to begin having conversations with your child as well, it's never too early for them to begin thinking about, okay, hey, what career interests do I have? What interests me? What are my talents? What are my gifts? What are my hobbies? What do I enjoy doing? And one of the courses that you heard about, Freshman Focus, that's a class that your child will take their 9th grade year. And that class is solely geared toward covering the academic houses. So they'll go in depth into the different pathways, into the different careers, because we want to allow students to be able to have that opportunity to explore various career options. Because many times students they aren't interested in a certain career because they haven't been exposed to it. They haven't even heard about it. And so we want to be sure that we just expose them to everything that's out there. And that way it can spark their interest. They can begin researching it through the various activities and projects that they'll complete in Freshman Focus. It allows them to be prepared towards selecting a house at the end of their 9th grade year. And so that's something that we're excited about because, we want students to be able to do one of two things through this process. We either want, when they get to the high school and they choose a pathway, we either want that pathway to confirm something they're interested in, or we want it to deter them. So it's nothing wrong if they thought they wanted to go into sports medicine and then they begin exploring and they realize, hey, you know what, this isn't really what I want to do. Because we want to be able to minimize your child, if he or she decides that they want to go to college, we want to minimize them changing their major, their freshman or sophomore year. So that's one of the things we're excited about, of connecting what we're doing in the classroom, helping our students become exposed to careers so that they can identify their interests and have a good sense of, okay, hey, I think this is what I want to do when I graduate from high school, whether that's to go into college or whether that's to go into the workforce or even go into the military. So we want to be sure that we've done our best in preparing them and connecting them to their passion. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And if you have questions, I'm going to ask if you would type your questions in the chat. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to go through and answer questions that parents have placed in the chat. And that way I can be sure to answer everything, any questions that you all may have. So there are a couple of questions that I had at the beginning. I'm going to scroll back. And one question from Ms. Brittany, she asked how to get this sheet if your child is virtual and was not at school to bring one home. So yes, Ms. Brittany, I'm going to email the course selection sheet out. So you all will be receiving an email, an electronic copy of the course selection sheet. And okay, next question that I had is, what is JCC? Very good question. So JCC is Junior Cadet Corps. It is a middle school version of our junior ROTC, JROTC. And what it does, it prepares students if they are interested in being in JROTC. Sergeant Farrington, he teaches that course. And he does a great job of preparing students, walking them through the various backgrounds and information of our military and our different branches of service. And then also the students, they also march as well and do drill routines, and it prepares them and it gives them a taste of what JROTC will be like for their 9th grade year. And so that is what JCC is Junior Cadet Corps. It's a middle school version of JROTC to prepare students if they're interested in going into JROTC, they can go ahead and begin exploring in that elective. Another question that I had from Ms. Wubin is, how should virtual and quarantine students handle this? All right, I think, Ms. Wubin, did I answer your question? You can let me know. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna allow our virtual students to be able to complete that online portion at home. And the only thing we would need you to do is just to turn in that course selection sheet to the school. And I would say, if also, Ms. Howell, are you fine? Or can we have them email it to you as well, Ms. Howell? If they're
yes, sir, they can.
Okay, so
Yes,
I'm gonna put Ms. Howell's email address in the chat room. Something that we want to do. Let's say if you are quarantined and can't get out right now to the school, I'm placing Ms. Howell's email address in the chat, and that way you can email your signed course selection sheet to her, and that way we'll have that copy. And then also A reminder that we'll be sending out a Zoom link because Wednesday from 3:30 to 4:30, she's going to have that Zoom session available. If our online students need assistance in selecting their electives in Power School, she'll be able to assist them with that. All right. The next question was, if our children are in virtual, would they do this when they have their cyber class? Because my child didn't have cyber or history today. Okay, so the same, they'll be able to complete the online portion on their own. So they won't have to wait until they have their virtual, until they have their cyber class virtually. But they will, that virtual teacher is going to allow them Wednesday and Thursday to do that. So if they're logged on during that time, they will have that opportunity and they'll have that support from their Cyber 2 teacher as well. I forgot that the setup for virtual at the partnership school is different here at Armstrong Junior High. So yes, they will have that opportunity. All right. Someone else asked about how do we do this if our child is virtual or in quarantine. Hopefully I answered that. If you have any questions further, you will put that in the chat. Next question was, how can I be added to this email list? Because I didn't know about this Zoom until another parent told me about it. If you all will, email Nicole Thomas. I'm going to place her email address in the chat. She's our public relations officer for the district. And what we utilize is School Messenger. And that pulls from the email address that you have in Power School. So I'm going to place her email address in here. If any parent, if you didn't get the message that Nicole Thomas sent out, if you will send her an email address, she'll be able to add your email address and be sure that moving forward, you get the messages that are sent out, because that's what we utilize to send mass messages. So let me place her email address. All right, nthomas@starboysd.com. I had another question. How many periods will be in the school day next year? Very good question, Ms. Lee. So we're going for 8th graders. They'll be on the 5x5, same schedule that partnership school is doing. So they'll have 5 periods a day, and their elective course will be every other day because they'll go to one elective on A day and another elective on B day. So the same schedule that students have this year in 7th grade, they'll have the same in 8th grade. Very good question. And all right, so I had a question regarding they have to take Spanish to graduate or for credits. So yes, they do have to have that foreign language in order to graduate from high school. That's correct. Another question. All right, if a student is in compacted math, Algebra 1 and 8, will they take the Algebra 1 state test? Yes, very good question, Ms. Fletcher. Thank you for asking that. And so students, if they take compacted math or algebra in 8th grade, not only do they have to take the Algebra 1 state test, but they also have to take the 8th grade math state test. That's something that is set by the Mississippi Department of Education. So they will be responsible for 2 state assessments for math, the 8th grade math state test and the Algebra 1 state test. And currently the way we have it set up, we have it paced to where that algebra teacher throughout the pacing guide is reviewing those 8th grade math skills to ensure that students, they have a good handle of 8th grade math, as well as that they're going into depth in the Algebra 1 standards also. All right, another question was, if a student takes compacted math now, will they automatically take that in math? Miss Brittany, will you unmute yourself and ask that question for me again?
Yes, I was typing fast. My son is now taking compacted math and honors English. My question was, being that they're in compacted math now, do they automatically take that in 8th grade or like the next step? Because I don't know how that would work.
Gotcha.
Like, do you have to choose that, or is that something y'all choose?
Gotcha. Yeah. So we are going to, so in the spring, when he takes the 7th grade math state assessment and we get those results, we're going to look at the 7th grade math state assessment and we'll look at the I-ready screener as well as students, their grade in 7th grade math. And the counselor is going to go through and select those students who meet the criteria to be in Algebra 1. And then from there, the counselors will send you an email to let you know that your child has been selected for Algebra 1. And then that way the parent will have the option to say, yes, I do want my child to take Algebra 1, or a parent can have the option to say, well, no, I don't want my child to take Algebra 1. So yes, the counselor will go through and determine based on their MAP scores, their I-ready scores, and their grade in 7th grade math.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yes, ma'am, you're welcome. And Miss Courtney had a question. She asked about teams in 8th grade. Yes, ma'am, we will be doing teams in 8th grade. That's something that we love teaming because it has an opportunity for those smaller communities to have 4 interdisciplinary teachers, math, science, English, history, those 4 teachers working together and teaching the same students. So yes, we will be teaming again as well next year in 8th grade. Very good question. Currently as well, the setup that we have, just to share this also, we have 8th grade. If you all remember, they're in the upstairs A, they're in the A building. And we have our 9th grade students in E building. And our 9th grade students are on a totally different schedule. And so we've set it up to where 8th grade transitions at a totally different time than 9th grade. And so we really have 2 schools operating on 1 campus. And so I want to share that information. That way, you also know the location currently where we have 8th grade, we're 9th grade, and how that operates. Any other questions? All right, awesome. Well, thank you all again so much. I'm excited to have the opportunity to be reunited, I would say, with your children next year. And we are excited about Armstrong Junior High School and them being a part of the junior high. We will, again, tomorrow I'll be emailing a copy of this presentation, the Zoom video. Also, we'll be emailing the course selection sheet, as well as that Zoom link for Wednesday for the virtual students to be able to join with Ms. Howell. And as always, if you have any questions, let's say we get off this call and you say, man, hey, what about this? Just feel free to email Ms. Howell, and any questions that you may have, we'll definitely be sure to answer those questions because again, we want to continue to be in communication with you as we prepare for the fall 2021-2022 school year. So thank you all again.
Hey, Mr. Forbes.
Yes.
I think Miss Courtney, she asks, are the students moving to classes or are the teachers moving for next year?
Okay, gotcha. Very good question. So yes, the students, they will be moving classes. Yes, they will change classes. Currently this year, they're changing classes. So they'll move within their team. And the way we have it set up, we have those 4 teachers right there in what we call team corner. And they'll transition to their core classes. And then as a team, they'll go to their electives as well. Thank you, Ms. Howell. I missed that. All right. If anything else, if you all will place it in the chat. But other than that, thank you all so much. You all have a great evening. And as always, go Jackets. You all have a good night.